The world is an amazing place. There are so many interesting things to explore. You may not know this, but math can actually help us get to know all of them in important and surprising ways. You never know what exploring a little math might reveal. Some mathematicians use the power of math to see beyond our planet, to the outer reaches of our galaxy, and beyond. So, it's time to think like a mathematician. How can we explore with math? Let's take a look. Could we count? Counting seems so basic, but did you know that most of the math that we learn to do at school is just a fancy way of helping us answer the question, how many? Adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing? Yep, these are often simply used to help us count faster. Look at your subject. What counting questions could you ask? Perhaps we could measure? Look at your subject and think of measuring questions. There are so many things that you might measure. Here are a few examples. How heavy? How fast? How strong? How tall? How cold? How deep? How big? How far? Maybe we could compare. How many more? How much bigger, faster, taller, deeper? What does it look like when objects are put into some kind of order? How are these objects the same or different? These are all comparing questions. Look at your subject. What kinds of comparing questions could you ask? So what about designing? Is designing math? Well, if you pay attention to concepts such as pattern, shape, structure, and symmetry, then you will notice mathematical design qualities. Look at your subject. You might even listen or touch. What design questions could you ask? How about locating? Did you know that so much math around the world was created to help humans understand where they are and how they might get to someplace else? Asking locating questions will help you explore where, how far, in what direction, and in relation to what. This might mean using angles, distances, and coordinates. Look at your subject. What locating questions could you ask? When you explore mathematically, you might choose one focus, like measuring, for example, or look at many different mathematical activities to get inspiration for your questions. You can do some thinking on your own, or share ideas in discussion. When you've thought of a bunch of questions, it's time to sort them. Which questions can be easily answered? Which ones will take some extra work? Which ones might be too hard to answer? And which should we tackle first? Next up comes planning. How should we try to find solutions to our questions? Should we estimate? And if so, what kind of referent would be handy? What other supplies will we need? And finally, how should we record our thinking? When you've worked on solving some questions, pause and think of what might come next. It is helpful to think of what we've learned so far. Did the math that we've explored help us understand our subject more? Or should we explore some other questions that we had? Good luck, everyone, and have fun exploring mathematically.